Hi, it's Logan Wells, and I'm in the kitchen today making stuffed grape leaves, also known as dolmades. When I was in my teens, I dated an Armenian boy whose parents were part Italian and part Armenian, and the Armenian food is very close to much of the Mediterranean and what the Greeks make. So she made these grape leaves. That's when I was introduced to them, and I love them. I couldn't wait for a holiday or a special time in the summer when she would make a big pot of them, and I would just eat and eat and eat them. And unfortunately, we broke up. And a couple years later, I was like, I'm really missing those grape leaves. So somehow or another, and this was years ago, like at least 25 years ago, I just happened to go to the library and find a recipe for stuffed grape leaves, and it tasted very, very similar to hers. So it all worked out. So I'm going to share them with you, because a lot of friends, when I make them, or neighbors say, oh, I love grape leaves, I love grape leaves. Let me know when you're making them. So I'm going to double this batch. And I just want to say right now that if this one part of my mouth isn't moving, it's because I just had a filling replaced that fell out a couple days ago while I was flossing nonetheless. So much for good dental hygiene, because that's what made my cavity fall out. Anyway, so I just got it done. And if I let this Novocaine or whatever they put in there now wear off, it's going to take at least 2 hours. And I don't have time to wait 2 hours, because I want to get these grape leaves made and put in the pot, because it takes about an hour to cook after you have stuffed them, rolled them, and stuffed them, and so forth. So it's about 6:30 here, and if I wait 2 hours, I'm not going to make them. I'll be too tired. So it'll wear off as we're going along. Also, before you cook anything Italian or Greek, you got to have a glass of wine while you're cooking. I don't know what the Greeks say. Anyway, well, I'm part Polish and Nostrovia. All right. First of all, we're going to take our onions. I'm doubling this recipe just because of how much everybody loves these grape leaves, so I give a lot of them away. So I'm going to post the recipe for the regular amount that you would make, but today I'm going to be doubling it. So usually it would be 1 large onion. I didn't have large onions today, so I'm just taking 5 small to medium size. And I'm just quartering them because, again, rather than sitting here and chopping all this stuff, I'm going to use that handy dandy little food processor that I have. And this comes in different sizes. There's a smaller one if you're only doing a little bit of onions, or tomatoes or parsley, things like that. But since I'm making a double batch, I'm going to try to do as much of it as I can in here. And you really don't have to cut these up very small, which is what I like about it, because it really speeds up the process. So I've peeled and cut up 4 onions. If you want to hand chop these into little pieces, you can go ahead and do that, but I'm going to throw them in here. And then you need 1 cup of thinly sliced green onions. So I'm actually going to do 2 cups. I've gotten these from the grocery this afternoon, and I washed them, and there's all these little roots at the end of them. You want to cut those off, throw them away. And usually 1 bunch would give me the 1 cup that I need, so I'm using 2 bunches here because they were a little small anyway. All right, and then I'm just going to take half of these. And again, if you want to go ahead and finely slice these up yourself to have more of the little round pieces in your grape leaves, you can, but frankly, I don't think anybody really notices, and it's going to be sauteed anyway and nice and soft. So to me, I'm just putting these in there for the flavor, and you can get the flavor if you have even pureed them. We're not going to quite chop them up that fine, so this would be about 1 cup. I'm going to do this batch first, and then put these in with my parsley that I'm going to be chopping up in a minute. But right now I've got my pan heating, and I'm going to bring the camera over there so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this fits right on the top there, and then I'm going to get out the part that you plug in, and then this just sets right on the top. Got it on the right way. And you'll see it start to like kind of mince it up there. I'm going to shake it a little bit, keep pulsing it. So I'm going to continue that. Do it one more time. See, and I like it minced up pretty fine. I don't like feeling chunks of onion in my food. Just not a big fan of it, but see that? That saved me about 15 minutes of hand chopping. So I've got one more batch that I'm going to chop up, but in the meantime, I've had my pan heating up here, and you would normally take, let's see here, a half a cup of olive oil, but I am using a cup since I'm doing a double batch. I'm just going to pour that in there. That should heat up pretty quickly since my pan's pretty hot. And then I'll put this batch of onions in here. There you go, so you can hear it frying. There you go. And then I'm going to chop up that other half. Okay, I've got those on about medium to medium low. We just want to let them gently, you don't even really want to brown them. You just want it to get where they're transparent and, you know, a little cooked so they're not raw. So I'm going ahead and cutting all these up as well. And I will pulse those in the food processor. And then I'm going to add some of the parsley from my garden. So let me get these done first. Okay, some of that in here. So after you've got your onions and your green onions in there, I just chop up some celery. Again, they want you to use about a half cup of celery, but I'm going to do a cup. And because I don't want to have to sit here and mince it all, and again, use my little handy chopper that my husband bought me. And I was like, why did you buy that? I don't need another thing to take up room in my kitchen. But I use it all the time. So this goes in here, and that will saute with the other onions. I will give it a whir and meet you in a minute. Next, we're going to work on the parsley. And I'm only going to show you a few of how I do this. My parsley is growing kind of weird this year. I had some big bunches, but we've used it for other things. But I just take the parsley, and all I want is the leaves. So I'm just going to strip these stalks of just the leaves. You can kind of take your fingernails and kind of pull down, strip that, that one, that one. And again, I could dice this up, but I think I'm going to throw this in the food processor as well. All right, so I won't bore you with doing all the rest of this. I'll come back after I'm ready to put this in the processor. Boop. Okay, so I pulled all those big pieces of parsley out, and you want a half cup of minced parsley. So this is going to actually make about a cup, since I'm again doubling the recipe. There we go. This makes great pesto too, by the way. Let's see if it's got most of it chopped. Yep, all good. Okay, so we're going to take what we've just minced up in here. I just want to make sure that's fine enough. Yep. Got a couple pieces of some of the string though. We don't want that in there. Okay, so we're going to set this into the pan as well. Wash my hand off. Okay, so far we've got our regular onion and our green onions and the parsley. Just kind of give that a stir in the olive oil. And again, I've got that on medium heat. We don't really want it to brown. We just want this to all soften up. Next, we're going to do tomatoes. I'll show you how to do those in a second. Okay, you want to have 2 large tomatoes that are peeled, and then we're going to pull out the seeds and just chop up the meat of the tomato. And the easiest way to do that is to take a pot of water that is very hot. This one was simmering. And I'm just going to stick those inside there. I got a few other little ones from the garden that I'm going to throw in for good measure. And you let those steam for about a minute, and you'll notice that the skin will either start to crack on the tomato, and you can take it out and we'll peel the skin off. Okay, so this tomato, I'm going to take it out of the hot water. And as you can see, the skin has started to split, and it's just going to peel right off there. Be careful not to burn your hands. And we'll kind of let that set. I think that's good enough for that one. Oop, one more little piece there. Okay, he's ready. Now we'll get the other one. The big mama. It's the big mama tomato. There you go. Just peels off. And that one. Let that cool off for a minute, and I'll get my little guys out. I think this coming weekend, which will be Labor Day weekend, I think the tomatoes are going to be coming in. The homegrown plum tomatoes, so we'll be canning tomatoes this weekend. I'm looking forward to that because I'm down to 2 cans from last year. I use them all year for different soups and sauces and spaghetti sauce. Okay, this guy will just put a little split. If it doesn't split on its own, you can just put a little slit in it yourself, and then it comes right off. All right, got one more, and I'll be back shortly, and we will peel and, well, we'll seed them. We've already peeled them. Whew, that's hot. Okay, I'm gonna give my pan a stir. Smells so good. Something about the smell of cooking onions and celery reminds you of Thanksgiving morning when I was sleeping as a kid, and I would smell that coming in from the kitchen. It's like, Mom's getting the turkey ready. All right, so I'm going to cut that core out. Oop. And that one's just got a little bit. Being very careful. Now, a lot of these say to peel and seed them. There's really not that much of that gelatinous stuff in this one, but I'll take it out. Sometimes I've made them and I've just left it in, and honestly, it really doesn't make any difference, but for the sake of preparing it correctly according to the recipe that I got many years ago, I will take the seeds and guts out of it. All right, and then this I actually do just chop up because I don't want to put it in here and puree it. I want to have there be like almost little chunks of tomato. And as it cooks, they'll kind of break down a little bit, but it's nice to actually be able to taste or have that feel of a little bit of a tomato. Give those grape leaves a little substance. All right, when I'm done chopping these, then we'll pick up from there. Okay, so we've chopped up all those tomatoes, and now I'm going to add those to the pan. That's just about cooked down where we want it to be. We'll add our yummy tomatoes. Ooh, come on, get in there. Don't miss any of the pan. I'm going to stir those up. Stirring that up. Let that simmer for about a minute. Meanwhile, we will get our lemon juice ready to put in here. Okay. So I think I've shown you this before. It's called the Juice-O-Matic. I don't know, I think my grandmother passed this down to my mother, and then my mother passed it down to me, and I just love this. I know there's a lot of juicer things that you could hold and do handmade. I just think this is such a cool contraption from probably, I don't know, in the 50s sometime, maybe even in the 40s. Anyway, you just cut your lemons in half, and there's two contraptions there. This catches the juice, and this has the little thingamabob that will take the juice out. And you just push this down, wait about 10 seconds to get all the juice out you can, lift that up, and then you take that out. And I like to use these to throw down my garbage disposal, at least a couple of them anyway, to freshen up the garbage disposal every once in a while. All right, so you're going to need, let's see here, I'm looking at my recipe here. It says a 1/4 cup lemon juice, so I'm looking to do a 1/2 cup, which, actually no, I think I need one more. I think I need one more lemon. Make sure I wash it first. Cut that puppy in half and juice it. One more. And at this point, I'm going to turn this mixture down to like a simmer. So that is cooking up quite nicely. Just give it a little stir. And then I'm going to add my 1/2 cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Okay, we'll give that a stir. Okay, so far we've put in 1 large onion. Well, okay, remember, I'm doubling this, but your ingredients will be 1 large onion, 1 cup thinly sliced green onions, 1/2 cup of minced celery, and a 1/2 cup of olive oil. And you will take that and simmer it. And then we put in the tomato that was peeled, seeded, and minced, a 1/2 cup of minced parsley. And now we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of fresh chopped dill, or 1 tablespoon of dried dill. And because I have tried to plant dill in my garden every year, and it looks good for about 2 weeks, and then it just dries up and dies, and it never gets bigger, and I don't know why, because all my other herbs do really, really well, but there's issues, so I use the dried stuff. So there's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, since I have doubled this. And then you need a 1/2 cup of pinoli nuts or pine nuts. This is the best part. Love these. I could just eat these by the handful, but at $30 a pound, be just killing the grape leaves. If I can get this open. So I'm trying to open the pine nuts, and dear God, everything anymore is so hard to open. I mean, it's not like this poisonous stuff that the kids are going to get into and die. It's pine nuts. Anyway, you're supposed to do a 1/2 cup, but I'm putting in a cup, which is basically this whole little package there. And we'll stir all that up. It's getting really soupy. And you want to use a really deep pan. This is actually like almost like a wok that I've been doing this in. It's a large deep dish fry pan that I also can use for doing stir fry. All right, so I think we got everything in there except for the 1/3 cup water. Since I'm doubling it, I'm putting in 2. And then you need a 1/2 cup of chicken broth. Since I'm doubling it, I'm putting in 1 cup, which gives it a really nice chickeny flavor. Give that a little stir. And the last ingredient for this part, well, I should say next to last, is 1 cup of long grain white rice. And so I'm putting in 2 cups since I'm doubling my recipe. We'll give this a stir. And the very last ingredient is a little salt and pepper to taste. And I don't usually put that in until after this has absorbed the lemon juice and the water and the chicken broth, and it becomes like almost like a nice peel-off. It's very lemony. And then I taste it and I see how much salt and pepper it needs. So we're gonna put a cover on this, bring it back to a simmer, and let it cook for about 15 to 20 minutes when your rice is nice and fluffy. We'll come back at that point. Okay, so this has been simmering for about 20 minutes. And now it's absorbed all the water and the chicken broth and the lemon juice, and the rice is cooked. So you want to take this off of the heat and let it cool, if you can, for about a half an hour, because you're going to be spooning this into the grape leaf and rolling it up, and you don't want it too hot or you won't be able to touch the grape leaves. Okay, so my rice mixture is cooling, and I've set it here in my workstation where I put it on a trivet so that it doesn't harm my countertop. And you can have it right there. Get a nice size spoon. And I have bought all different kinds of grape leaves over the years, but I find this is my favorite. This, I guess it's Z-I-Y-A-D. I don't know how that's pronounced. I would say Zayad, but the reason I love these the most is they're easy to get out. There's like 4 bunches of these that are in the jar, and you can kind of squeeze the juice out. And I just run this whole bunch under water and then squeeze all the water out of it, and then I lay them out, because we're going to place our filling in each of these and then roll them up, sort of like a cabbage roll. But the nice thing about these leaves is that they already have the stems cut off. Other brands I bought, you have to actually, they're tough to peel apart. These are not. And they also usually have a very thick stem, and you have to take a little knife and cut that out because you don't want to have that rolled up in the grape leaf itself. So that cuts out a lot of the work right there and then. So if you haven't tried this brand, it's a great brand to make the grape leaves. And they look like all really nice too. None of them have big holes or ripped or anything. So again, not wasteful. So what I'm going to do is you take that bunch, they're kind of all rolled up together, and kind of just run it under water. Squeeze out all the excess water. And then first thing we're going to do is, I'm taking a very tall stock pot. It's an enamel one. And you want to put some of the grape leaves on the bottom of the pot so that when you lay the other grape leaves on it, they won't stick or burn to the bottom of the pot. So it's just kind of a safety measure. I know when the boyfriend that I talked about, whose family was Armenian, they would go out once a year. I'm not sure where they would go out to, but they went to a place where they could pick grape leaves right up off the vines, and they would take them home and jar them. But that seems like a lot of work, although sometimes doing things together like that as a family is fun, and it creates great memories. But again, when I started making these about 25 years ago on my own, these grape leaves used to be about $10, $11 a jar. These were only $3.99. I just find them at one of the Mediterranean stores around the area. And like I said, for $3.99, these are the best, and make this much more economical, because it used to be very expensive to make these. Not that it still isn't, because by the time you buy all the other ingredients for the stuffing, and then the olive oil and your lemon juice and the chicken broth, you know, they're not cheap. That's why when you go to those Greek fests, they're like $1 a roll. But to me, I love the filling. You could actually even make this filling just as a side dish if you're making some lamb or pork chops. It would make a nice side dish. And it's just very tasty all on its own. But it's just kind of a little rice mixture, and you take it, put it right on the leaf, and you want to get it about a tablespoon in each one. And you're just going to take the bottom and you kind of fold it over the mixture, tuck it in, fold one side, then the other, and then roll it up, and it makes a nice little grape leaf. I'm going to put the camera closer above so you can see how we're doing it. So as you can see, I take, oh gosh, about 15 to 20 of them and kind of lay them out, and then take a spoonful of the rice mixture, set it right down in the center of that, and then you're just going to fold that over, kind of tuck it in, then you bring that side over, and continue to roll it all the way up. And then you're going to lay it seam side down inside your pan, and I'll show you that in a minute. We'll pull this one back up. Take a spoonful. And you know, a lot of the grape leaves by this particular brand seem to be the same size, although you'll get like, you know, like one large one like this, and then you might get a smaller one. So you're going to have all different sizes of the grape leaf rolls, but most of them seem to be pretty good size. So that's another reason I like this particular brand. Okay, put a little bit in there, and you fold it over, right, left, and roll. Sometimes some of the filling might come out, but that's okay. You can just pick some of that up and put it in the next leaf. So this one will get a little bit. The larger rolls, of course, will get a little bit more of a spoonful. We used to call these little stogies. They almost look like little cigars, don't they? You can see what they look like. Hopefully you're able to see. It's hard without a cameraman to get a good close-up of this. All right, we'll just fold that over, and that one, and roll it up and lay it seam side down in your pan. And I'll show you what it looks like in the pan. See, they're all kind of lined up there. All right, so we're gonna keep on rolling them up. And after I get one layer in there, I'll show you what to do next. Boop. Now, if you want to get really fast at this, you can just start putting filling in. 1, 2, one over here, one over here, one over here, and do it like that. Start putting your filling on a bunch, and then roll. And you can get pretty quick at it once you've gotten the hang of it. Just tuck, right, left, and roll. Tuck it, left, right, and roll. They look like little miniature cabbage rolls. Tuck, right, left, and roll. Oh, I can't wait till these are done. I love these so much. I love them warm. I love them cold. I love them young. I love them old. Little Dr. Seuss there. All right. I will see you in a bit after I've rolled some more of these. Okay, so at this point, I've got one layer in my stock pot. And you want to take some lemons and very, very thinly slice them, because we're going to lay this across the top of each layer. And that's why they only have to be thin, because as this is simmering, it will get some of the juice from the layers of the lemons. And lemons aren't that cheap, so you don't want to be cutting very thick slices of lemon if you don't have to. All right, so we're gonna lay these on top. So see, I have one layer in there. Let me just put some of these lemon slices there. And it doesn't have to be completely covered. And then we'll start rolling the next layer. So now I'm just laying out some more leaves. And it almost becomes like a factory line. Sometimes, if I'm really lucky, I get my husband to help. But he just had some minor surgery today and is resting. All right, so we'll do that. I think I got a double here. I feel like there's two of them, yep. Ah, they're sticking together. How dare you? There we go. All right, so we'll start spooning. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can kind of straighten it when you go to roll them up. Oh, it needs just a little bit. Some there, some there. I try to get them as uniform as possible, but you know, it is what it is. I don't think anybody's gonna complain when they're eating their grape leaf. They'll be too busy saying, mmm. All right, so we do those. We do the old tuck, right, left, roll. Tuck, right, left, and roll. Tuck and roll. Like we're in gymnastics class. Like I said, after you've been making these for a while, you can get pretty fast at it. I often wonder how they do all those grape leaves for those Greek. Well, that wasn't very nice. My camera fell over and I have no idea why. Anyway, I was saying that I don't know how they make the amount of grape leaves that they do for those Greek festivals. I just can imagine a big, huge group of old Greek ladies sitting down while the younger ones are cooking all the fillings and so forth, and them just sitting at a table and rolling grape leaves like a warehouse style. Not warehouse style. What was I saying? I meant like a production line is what I meant to say, not warehouse. Must be the wine. All right, we'll lay out some more. Some of them are sticking together. But boy, I'll tell you what, I love the fact that these don't have the stems on them. I mean, we used to have to lay these out on this cutting board, and after they'd all be laid out, sit here and go, or like cut off the stem, cut off the stem, cut off the stem. But what a pain in the butt. See if you can find the ones that do not have the stems on them. Big time saver. And I also, like I said, I like that all of these seem to be very uniform, pretty much in size, and none of them are all ripped or torn. And I've gotten some jars of different brands that it becomes like a puzzle putting them together, just trying to get a grape leaf, or having to put one or two of them together to get it to work. So these make me very happy. So we've had our second layer, and then put some more lemon slices on it, and now we're going to go for the third layer. Oh darn, there's some left. Guess I'll just have to eat some. That is just so good on its own. I'm telling you, you could really use this as a side dish. All right, so I ended up with about, I'm gonna say almost 6 layers in here. So I'm gonna put my last layer of my lemon slices. I'm gonna have to cut up another one here. And then we're going to make a little bit of a, I guess you would want to call it a sauce or a broth. It's just lemon juice, olive oil, and chicken broth. And you mix it up and you pour it over the rolls. And then we're gonna weight it down with the plate. And you bring it to almost a boil and turn it down to simmer and cover it for about an hour. I'll show you what this looks like. So that's almost 6 layers for a pretty tall pot. So I don't know, I'm gonna guess there's at least 75 to 100 of them in there. I didn't count, but it's a lot. And like I said, there's still a little bit of the rice left. And I didn't want to open up a whole nother jar of grape leaves just to roll, I don't know, maybe another 8 to 10. And then what would I do with the rest of the leaves? So I'll just make another batch, maybe in the fall, with whatever tomatoes and things are left from the garden. Okay, so for the sauce or broth that you're going to put on this, you're going to use a 1/2 cup olive oil, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 3 cups of chicken broth, and then we've already got our lemons that are sliced in there for garnish. Again, I'm doubling this, so I'm going to use 1 cup of olive oil, a 1/2 cup of lemon juice, and I don't think I'll need 6 cups of chicken broth because I just want enough to where it's almost to the top of the leaves. And then when you cover it with the top and you've got it on simmer, a lot of that heat and the steam from the broth is going to actually cook these well. And then after they're done cooking, I let them set to cool. Sometimes I try to eat them while they're still hot, and you burn your mouth, don't do that. But they're actually delicious refrigerated. I love them cold, and they're really good hot. Some make a meat grape leaf. These don't have any meat in them, they're just rice. And I was just thinking today, because I was doing that keto diet on and off, And I'm thinking you could probably make these keto without the rice. You could just do the veggie mix, use very little tomato, a lot of the lemon juice, and then just roll those up in the grape leaves and cook it the same way. And I think that might be keto friendly. So I haven't tried that yet. I may do that this fall. Okay, so for the broth, I'm gonna do, since I'm doubling it, I'm doing 1 cup of olive oil, a half cup of lemon juice, and then, now it's calling for 3 cups of chicken broth, but I'm gonna see how much is in here. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna guess this is gonna be plenty. That's 4. And I'm just going to take this and kind of slowly mix it, whisk it around a little bit, mix it up. Gently, gently, don't spill it. And then we're just gonna pour this mixture over the grape leaves. And see, it's almost to the top to cover them. So it doesn't need any more chicken broth. That'll be fine the way that it is. The next part is going to be to take a I shouldn't say a heat sensitive, a heat resistant plate. And I just use one of these and I press it down so that the juice comes up to the top of where the grape leaves are. All right. And then we'll put this on the stove and bring it to a boil. Now again, I just turn this on high to get the heat going on it. And after about, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes, I'm just gonna turn this down to medium because I don't want the leaves on the bottom to burn. We just wanna get this nice and hot and steamy so that it cooks them, and we'll put a cover on it. I just got to have that over here. And that will simmer for 1 hour. See you at the end. So the grape leaves have finished cooking. They simmered on low, very, very low for 1 hour, and then let them cool. Don't try to eat them right after they're done because they are steaming hot inside and you will definitely burn your tongue. So you gotta be patient. Wait for them to cool off a little bit. I like them when they're warm, and I also like them after they've been refrigerated. And they actually have the best flavor after they have refrigerated overnight. So these are the cold ones. I'm gonna take a little taste. It's one of my favorite things in the world. Delicious, especially with pine nuts in there. So, so good. So not that hard to make, little time consuming, but try them out. I think your family will really love them. And I could eat about 100 of these. See you again.